All right. Welcome to the 2023 season. We had a great draft, and we are welcoming this year Ryan Bredeweg, Bredeweg for the spelling.
Good job.
Yep. Have Tiffany on here with me today. As always, anybody who wants to come on the show, please let me know, and we will get you on a call. We can talk about, that week or a trade that happened or anything else that we want to talk about. For starters, real quick, Ryan, not the new Ryan. I'm gonna call him Big Time Bex from now on. Big Time Bex came up with an idea of everybody doing kind of like a in chat trade block or something like that, and I can actually cover that on here too for anybody that we're maybe looking to move and like what we're looking for type of thing to kind of help facilitate trades along this year. And I actually really like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we want to do it in the Facebook group or exclusively like on here. I don't know.
I think we should just do it on the Facebook, like Messenger, like every week. Have
Yeah.
everyone do like the trade block thing, like who they would be willing to trade, what they're looking for, that type of thing. But
I wish Yahoo had something like that, but
yeah.
regardless.
Anyways.
Today we're going to go over nothing about week one, really. I'm just going to save that for after it happens. We're going to be going over draft related things. I have prepared a list of my own personal biased opinions.
We, not just you.
Well,
we.
okay, we. On the best and worst pick on each team. So for every single person in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple of honorable mentions for the best and the worst picks that I don't cover on everybody else's team. Like, biggest value in the draft and, biggest reach, that kind of thing. I'll also have to, at the very end, go over the 2-hour-long trade seminar that was held directly after the draft, right in front of the draft board in my living room.
That was a lot of fun. I really liked that. Like, being able to do trades immediately and in person.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I did too. It was really funny. We all just huddled around like cavemen to fire over the draft board, and 3 deals got done that night, as you guys can see on the picture if you're watching on YouTube. Oh yeah. Before I forget about that, I'm also possibly getting this uploaded to Spotify this year for those who don't want to get onto YouTube and watch the pretty pictures that I have and everything else. So,
yeah.
Anyway, we'll just get right into it. Best pick and worst pick on Matt's team. So, we chose Jalen Waddle in the 3rd for the best pick, simply because, Jalen Waddle's a stud. Pretty good draft value on the 3rd round there. Kind of the way the draft fell, I kind of figured that Waddle would go a little bit earlier than that, but yeah, he didn't. So 3rd round, pretty good value. Worst pick on Matt's glorious team, I chose Odell Beckham Jr. Why? Because he is old busted.
Yes.
I believe wholeheartedly that he is fucking old busted. He was literally talking at the beginning of the year of contemplating retirement. But instead, the Ravens gave him a boatload of money, and he said, yeah, sure, I'll take that. Any player who's contemplating retirement should just fucking retire. That means that they don't have it anymore. And I have literally the lowest of fucking hopes for Odell Beckham Jr. this year. Sorry, Matt. Moving on. Which I'm going to caveat this with, I literally on every single team had to pick a best and a worst. So just because I picked this player and you're like, what the fuck, I had a pretty good, just bear with me. I had to pick one.
These are our opinions anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm not saying that because Ben is next, because Ben had a fucking terrible pick, as we all roasted him for during the draft. Anyway.
Yeah, his worst pick was easy.
Yeah. So Ben's best pick, though, I believe, was Khalil Herbert in the 8th round. Starting running back for the Chicago Bears this year, or presumably the starting running back for the Chicago Bears this year. David Montgomery left town. Khalil Herbert should be decent, and to get him in the 8th round behind Breece Hall and Christian McCaffrey, pretty good value there. As we all know, Ben's worst pick was the Dallas Cowboys defense in the 11th round. Fucking 2 rounds too goddamn early. I don't believe that anybody who picked a defense until the last round would have taken the Dallas defense. I believe that San Francisco was before, Baltimore would have went before, Pittsburgh would have went before. Dallas after that, of course, but, Ben could have taken such players as, fucking Charbonnet, Quentin Johnston, A.J. Dillon, Jameson Williams, Jacoby Myers, just reading a few. Moving on. Big Time Bex, best pick, we chose James Conner. The reason that we chose James Conner is because he was drafted in the 8th. He's the Cardinals' starting and, maybe only running back on that fucking team. That team's going to be goddamn terrible. So they don't have a quarterback for the first foreseeable future until Kyler Murray comes back. So James Conner should be running the ball early and often. Maybe not in the 4th quarter because they'll be trying to come back. But that team's terrible. James Conner should get a lot of work. Good value in the 8th round. Worst pick, we chose Kyle Pitts. I personally don't believe in Kyle Pitts at all. He was a D&D on my rankings for this year. And if you do not know what the D&D stands for, it is not Dungeons and Dragons. It is Do Not Draft. Kyle Pitts is, on paper, looks fantastic. He's got the size, he's got the skills. He's on a up-and-coming team, I guess, that, but the past 2 years has been a utter disappointment. And yeah, that's why he's the worst pick. So I'll just let you talk about my best and worst picks since you chose this without my input whatsoever.
All right, well, I think your best pick was Chris Godwin in the 7th.
Why?
Don't put me on the spot.
Why? Tell the people why.
I don't know. I like Chris Godwin. I think I think he's going to do well this year. What round did you get him in? The 7th. So I don't have another reason for that. I don't have reasons, guys.
Okay. Well,
don't do this to me.
I did like the value on Chris Godwin there. Kind of a PPR machine. Mike Evans catches the touchdowns, but Chris Godwin, is the PPR machine.
There you go.
So short passes, Baker Mayfield. I think he can at least pass short. So, let's be hopeful.
Okay, your worst pick was definitely DJ Moore, though, in the 6th round. I do not like him. I have never liked him. I think I had him a few years ago.
Oh,
and it was horrible for me. Horrible.
I don't like him either. But
why did you take him then?
Well, here's why I picked him. I have Justin Fields. And Justin Fields' number 1 receiver is going to be DJ Moore. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing is still TBD. To be determined. But this is the same old. I fell for the same old tried and true thing that happens every single year. Last year
it was Allen Robinson. Last
year I fell for Allen Robinson.
DJ Moore is Allen Robinson.
Yeah, it's the fucking wide receiver that was held down by his previous team with no quarterback, and he comes to a new team with a decent quarterback, and you think he's going to be amazing. I may have reached a little bit. And my other reasoning for taking him there in the 6th was because all I had at that point was fucking Chris Olave, and I needed a receiver.
Yeah, well, it was a bad pick, so anyways.
And Ben stole my Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
All right, moving on. John, best pick for me, hands down, Brandon Cooks in the 9th round. So you could make the same argument for Brandon Cooks as you just did for DJ Moore. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Just did for DJ Moore, but Brandon Cooks was actually decent last year on a shitty team with who was the fucking quarterback? Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, doesn't he get like 1,000 yards every single year?
I don't know about 1,000, but yeah,
I thought he did.
He might.
I think he does.
He's a good player. Definitely getting an upgrade on the quarterback department, the team department. The Cowboys are going to be passing some this year. They're a much better team than the Texans. I was actually really targeting Brandon Cooks myself, but just it didn't work out. So worst pick was Sky Moore in the 10th round. I again don't personally believe in Sky Moore. I understand why you do it. It's the possibility of the breakout on such a good team like the Chiefs, but they drafted the rookie Rashee, I think it is. Rashee or Rashee I don't know if it's the Rashee. E or the D.
It's
but
Rashee.
Okay. Rashee. Rice, which John also got in the later round, but yeah. I don't know. Sky Moore is either going to do it or not, and I believe he's not. So moving on, best pick for Lance. I couldn't choose one, so I chose two. It's the Williams. Mike and Javonte Williams in the 7th and the 8th round. I really like Mike Williams. He gets hurt. He will get hurt. He will be out for 2 to 3 weeks for Lance's team. Probably week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range. Calling it now. It happens every fucking year. But when he's healthy, he's really good. Really good. Mm-hmm. Javonte Williams was the darling of the fantasy football drafts last year. I know that me and Ben were damn near fighting over him, and I didn't get him. But regardless, yeah, and then he got hurt. So, yeah, they brought in Samaje Perine, but do I really believe that's going to be anything more than an early fix for the Broncos? No. I think that's Javonte Williams' job as soon as he's healthy. And Lance stole him in the 8th round.
Yeah.
Great pick. Lance's worst pick, we wrote down Jamison Williams. Simply not anything to do with talent, in my opinion. I personally really like Jamison Williams. Somebody sitting here with me doesn't like Jamison Williams.
Well, isn't he suspended for like 6 games and he's unproven?
Right.
I haven't really seen him play.
That's fair. That's why we got him on the worst draft spot for Lance, is because he's out for 6 games. Can't put him in the IR.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to hold on to that for almost half a season. I feel like it's a wasted bench spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's what we chose. Moving on to Kim's team. Best pick, Christian Kirk in the 8th. I really like Christian Kirk. Mm-hmm. I know when Calvin Ridley came to town, he became the new hotness. But this entire draft, I had Calvin Ridley on my D&D list, unless he fell like super late, which he didn't. And I had Christian Kirk with a star next to his name, hoping to take him. Yeah. Because he was a stud last year, and I believe he will be, again, a stud this year. Mm-hmm. In a up-and-coming Jacksonville Jaguars offense.
Yep, I agree.
Worst pick in the draft is the round after, round 9, Juju Smith-Schuster. Yep. Juju hasn't been good since he was on the Steelers. That was 2 teams ago. So, I don't even really, honestly, was he on the Patriots now?
I don't even know.
Probably. He's probably on the, I don't know. Juju's fucking terrible. He's going to be an easy drop for Kim come week 2.
Yep.
Moving on. Ryan. Best pick, Dameon Pierce. I think we all fucking let out a sigh of anguish whenever Ryan drafted Dameon Pierce in the 6th, because I'm pretty sure everyone was like, my next pick's Dameon Pierce. And he all beat us to the punch. So
yeah, I almost took him instead of Mike Evans.
Yeah, I
almost took him, but I wanted another receiver instead.
I was going to take him instead of DJ Moore, but I needed a receiver.
Yeah.
And I couldn't start with 1 receiver and 3 running backs.
Yeah.
So, and because my thought process, at least during the draft, was, I was going to take him and then maybe possibly, move on from him or somebody else later, but that never works out, so I didn't do it. Ryan's worst pick, George Pickens in the 5th. I think by the end of the draft, by his questioning of when would we have all taken George Pickens, he realized that George Pickens in the 5th was way too early. Not necessarily a bad player or anything, but worst pick because of where you took him. You took him very, very early.
Yeah, you could have gotten him much later. But
Yeah.
I know you believe in him, and so, that's fine.
Which I'm all for, reaching for the players that you believe in, but there's a level, there's a line to that.
And this one was a little.
But it's his first draft. We can't knock him too much. So, Tim's best pick, James Cook in the 8th.
Yeah, that's good.
I personally really like James Cook. The Bills running backs never do anything, but I think James Cook is a little bit different talent level wise than Damian Singletary or
Damian Singletary.
Devin. I was literally looking at Damian Pierce on the paper.
I know, that's fine.
Devin Singletary or Zach Moss. So, I think that should work out pretty well. Maybe not early, but I think later in the season it'll be a good pick. So she's laughing because Tim's worst pick was 1,000% Josh Downs in the 6th round.
Oh my God.
Now, you guys did not let that stand. You guys are too nice. Me and Ben both said while he was on FaceTime that we would have not let that slide, but everyone else raised their hand and let him have a redo in which he picked Jahan Dotson instead.
That's a much better pick.
Much better pick. So, if we're not including Josh Downs in that terrible, terrible pick in the 6th round, I have to go a round earlier for his pick with David Njoku. David Njoku is not a bad tight end. Well, okay, all the tight ends are bad tight ends, except for Travis Kelce. Mark Andrews too. But David Njoku in the 5th was, again, way too early. He went over Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram. I had him at the back behind, like, Freiermuth, and I think I even had him behind Dalton Kincaid. He could have went way later. I mean, just a little bit of a reach. Tiffany's best pick, without her, wrote down Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders was pretty dang good on the Eagles last year. Yeah, he's getting a downgrade in team going to the Panthers, but 7th round pick, 3-down running back, Miles Sanders. Rookie quarterback who's going to need a little bit of a safety valve. I believe that Miles Sanders is a pretty good pick this year. Worst pick, wrote down Courtland Sutton. The Broncos were a absolute dumpster fire last year with Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, at the helm. So 7th round, Courtland Sutton. Is it going to be Jerry Jeudy? Is it going to be Courtland Sutton? Is it going to be somebody else? Is Russell Wilson got it anymore? Is he just trashed and over it? Who knows? All those question marks are why we have him as a worst pick. I have a couple honorable mentions for the best pick. Ryan. Trevor Lawrence in the 10th round. Mm-hmm. Pretty good value on the next best quarterback. You got to take him 4 rounds after everybody else took 1. He was probably, in my mind, the one and only quarterback left there in that kind of conversation. Below Jackson and Fields, in my mind, but right that very next person, and then there's a huge drop-off. So, good value there. And for the best honorable mention pick, we also have Lance's worst pick, Jameson Williams, for the simple fact that I think Jameson Williams will be good when he comes back. That Lions offense is kind of up and coming. A lot of people have the Lions winning the division this year. I don't personally. But I do think they're going to pass a lot. Jameson Williams should be good. He's going to, uproot people like... DJ Chark's not there anymore. Who else is on the Lions receiving core other than Amon-Ra? Exactly. Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
So, when he comes back, he should be good. The only reason he was on the worst pick is because, 6 weeks is a long time in fantasy football to have to roster somebody who you cannot use. Mm-hmm. Honorable mentions for the worst picks. My boy Ben on here with Kadarius Toney. That dude is a gust of wind away from another catastrophic season-ending injury. I believe in the talent, but this is 2 years now that the talent has not even had a chance to show light because of a terrible injury. Yes, you got him in the 12th round. I understand. But it's just a waste of pick in my mind. The other honorable mention for worst pick, Matt Brian Robinson in the 8th. So Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, who's going to be the lead down back? Is there a lead down back? Are they going to be sharing the workload? That kind of thing. In the 8th round, a little too rich for my blood. A lot of other running backs that were on the board that I felt had a little bit more upside than Brian Robinson. So those are the best and worst picks from the draft that are my total unbiased, well, no, very biased opinions.
Yeah.
Anyway,
trades.
So talk about the trades. So let me take a sip of water. I haven't talked this much at all today, and I'm a salesman. All right. So going over the trades.
That's not good.
Shush. Yeah, Becker, Big Time Bex, went big time after the draft was over.
Oh my God.
Immediately put on his poker dealer hat and said, I'm going to change up my whole goddamn team.
Within 24 hours of the draft, he has 6 new players on his team.
No, 5 new players, and he's gotten rid of 6.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, we'll get into that. The first trade that happened was before anybody left, and Becker and Tim, they traded. Becker traded Jalen Hurts and Amari Cooper for Tim's Jahmyr Gibbs and Calvin Ridley. So after having a couple nights to sleep on this, I'm looking at it. I see both teams, and although in this trade my favorite player is Jahmyr Gibbs, I have to say that Tim won the trade. So Jalen Hurts is at the quarterback position, the onesie position, so that's obviously a little bit above and beyond value-wise there. I also think that Amari Cooper is better than Calvin Ridley. Mm-hmm. I, again, don't believe in the Calvin Ridley hype as much as everyone else. He hasn't played in a year and a half or so. New offense, all that stuff. I know he's still young, still got talent, and I might eat those words, but I feel that Tim won that trade for sure, added to the fact that he already had A.J. Brown, so now he has the Hurts A.J. Brown stack. Yep, I think Tim won that trade. Still a good trade for Bex, but the other trade that happened shortly after everyone left, Big Time Bex again, trading with John. Becker sending Antonio Gibson and Jerry Jeudy for Elijah Moore and Alvin Kamara. So this one's a little bit harder for me to kind of who won, because Gibson and Jeudy are both the question marks of, are they the person in their offense? So Gibson might be sharing with Brian Robinson. Jeudy, is it Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy? And then Kamara is Elijah Moore is just kind of, he's okay. I don't think he's definitely not the one in the offense, but like, is he, he's just kind of okay, fine. Kamara is the big piece that he got back. 3-game suspension for Kamara. So when Kamara comes back, does Kamara, is he the Kamara of old, or is he losing it a little bit? They drafted, oh my God, what's the rookie's name? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. The Saints rookie running back, I'm drawing a blank right now. And they picked up Jamal Williams for the first 3 weeks, so is Kamara going to be splitting all that work? It's just kind of that's why
Kendre Miller.
Gosh, Jesus. I
know.
Okay. So just off the top, if I had to pick somebody who won this trade, even though this is probably, well, other than me and Matt's trade, I think this is the most even trade. If I just had to pick one, I'm going to pick John to win that trade, because I think Antonio Gibson is the lead back in that, not Redskins, I'm sorry, I'm canceled, Commanders offense. But all even trade. Next trade, me and Matt decided that he was a little hurting at running back, and I was a little hurting at receiver. So let's just swap Terry McLaurin for J.K. Dobbins. I think we're both pretty happy with that trade. I'm sad to see J.K. go. I liked J.K. Dobbins, but I also like Terry McLaurin. And I'm sure Matt feels the exact same way in reverse order about the players. So next morning, Big Time Bex is at it again, sending Pat Fryermuth and Michael Thomas to Tiffany for Mike Evans. So good trade on both sides. I think Tiffany didn't have Jake Ferguson in the late round, so Jake Ferguson is the literal definition of a question mark.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody how you felt about that and why you made that trade?
Well, I don't know. I'm just scared of Ferguson, and I just kind of wish I wouldn't have waited so long to take a tight end. So, I don't know. Hopefully, Fryermuth works out. I have a good feeling. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm a little scared, but I'm really happy with the deal. So.
And then
Michael Thomas too. I don't really know. I feel like he's also kind of a question mark. I mean, like he is good, but is he going to be good this year? I don't.
Essentially
I don't know,
hasn't played for 2 years, but
Yeah.
when he did in those couple games last year, he was really good. So,
So
I'm hoping personally that Chris Olave is the one and all in that offense. But if he's not, then Mike Evans should be pretty good. Or Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on. Mike Evans, obviously, 1,000 yards every year, no matter the quarterback. He's played with some dumpster fire quarterbacks. No more so than Tom Brady last year. That's my Tom Brady hate for the podcast. But yeah, he's going to get the touchdowns. He's going to get the yards.
Yeah,
Mike Evans,
he always does.
He always does. So that's all we've got. Thank you guys all for coming out for the draft, except for Ben.
Yeah,
Even though Ben was there for the
I
draft.
was gonna say he was there, and he looked beautiful in that green dress.
Yeah,
green really is your color, dude.
The cat was really all about upping your goodies. Wanted to know what was under that dress. I know we were all wondering, but the cat was sure to find out what was under there.
Yeah, he was hanging out underneath there.
And thank you, Tim, for the draft comedy of the fucking year, taking it from Kim from last year. So I guess you guys are gonna flip flop back and forth on terrible picks year to year. So Kim, looking forward to what you do next year. Wishing everybody luck in week 1, except for everybody else but me and Tiffany, actually. So John, I hope your whole team decides to shit the bed week 1 and give me a free win. Lord knows we need it after my 0-8 start. I know you guys are all sitting at home screaming it, especially Kim. 0-8, 0-8. I know. I hear you all the way here.
Oh, and I play my dad this week, so
so okay.
I do not wish you good luck either.
So John and Tim, hope you guys have nothing but bad luck. Everyone else, good luck, and I will see you guys after week 1, where I will go over what happened, any waiver pickups, or anything like that.
And we can talk about the trade block.
Yeah, start the trade block. You guys can go ahead and start throwing stuff out in the Facebook chat. And anything else you guys want to bring up, you let me know. And if anybody, again, wants to come on the show next week, please let me know. I know you guys get tired of hearing me rant and rave my own personal shit.
We need new people on here.
Yeah. So, John and Ryan, you guys live next door. You can always come down and sit in the lab here with me, and we can go over some shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Okay.
I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.